Yeah, hey, been hey, welcome to another podcast of Insight in Indian Country. And today I'm really excited to introduce Chris James for the National Center of American Indian Enterprise Development, the founders of the Reservation Economic Summit, and really looking to just chat today about the center's involvement and their kind of evolution, and really appreciate taking some time out of your very busy schedule today, Chris. And we thank you for joining us today. Why don't you provide our listeners a quick introduction on who you are?
Great. Well, thank you so much, Wes. It's great to be here. I'm Chris James. I'm President and CEO of the National Center for American Indian Enterprise Development. I'm originally from Cherokee, North Carolina, Eastern Band of Cherokee Indian descent. So glad to be with you today.
Yeah, thank you, sir. You guys host a very great event, the Reservation Economic Summit, and it's grown over the years and really starting to evolve into many different things. But at the core of it is always economic development. As far as the center goes, the foundation and mission really is just over 55 years serve Indian country, bring different organizations together, and identify new opportunities for growth and exposure, if you will.
Yeah, absolutely. The National Center for American Indian Enterprise Development, or we just sometimes call it the National Center because it is a mouthful of a name. We have, like you said, been around for 55 years supporting economic development, supporting small business growth, supporting procurement, supporting advocacy for our small business tribal enterprises and tribes out there. We do that by running various different programs. We have programs all the way from exporting to business startup. We have a new agriculture program that we launched this year, and we have two procurement programs that are happening right now. So we have a bunch of different programs. We support about 4,000 clients, Wes, across the country. So that when we support a client, that means we're providing some sort of technical assistance service to them. So a great, all through Indian country, we have clients from Maine to Florida to Alaska to California, here in Arizona as well. So all over the United States, we have clients that we work with just to get them and their business or their enterprises to the next level. We do that because we have 6 offices throughout the United States. We have a team of about 20 plus another 30 contractors, to believe it or not. Pretty robust organization. And as you mentioned, we have the Reservation Economic Summit that we host every year.
Yep. No, nice. That's definitely something I think a lot of people know your organization from, and have had the opportunity to generate a lot of business based on that specific event. One thing, do have a question about what does that growth tell you about the momentum in Indian country really seeking out opportunities and developing relationships, for example, with the federal government's one of them, with federal contracting. If you can kind of dive into a little bit on that, that'd be great.
Yeah, absolutely. This is my 10th year as putting a res together. Historically, I was always a speaker at res, just like you, Wes. I mean, you and I've been going, to this event for a long time. It's almost 37 years. There's been 37 res events. And so it is a legacy event that people know in Indian country. So that really helps. The growth of res over the past decade has a lot to do with the growth of our Indian country, just in general. And people are hungry for a conference that has substance, networking. We develop res so every attendee that comes, they take something home with them when they leave. That could be a contract. I mean, we have business to business matchmaking. We have 2 days of matchmaking. We have over 70 buyers that will be meeting 101 with enterprises and businesses to give to give them contracts, or to at least have those discussions on doing work together. And some of that is all the way from Department of Defense all the way through Lockheed Martin. So we have lots of that opportunity, so people can possibly leave res with maybe a contract in hand, and we have had that happen. But that's just one small part of it. I mean, just the ability to network with each other, talk about doing business together. So when you have two tribes, two tribal enterprises that have teamed up, and then they're going after business together, maybe internationally. So that's also, we do an indigenous to indigenous matchmaking. The actual training, we have 120 breakout sessions. So there is something for everybody, Wes. I mean, if you're an entrepreneur and you're just getting started all the way to a tribal enterprise prizes, there's something at res for you to go through a training, including for our accountants out there. We have this CPA credits, those credits of continuing education. So lots of opportunity. And I think the growth of res is with the historic growth of and change of our economies in Indian country.
Yeah, no, that's a good point I think you're making. And, obviously for tribes, one of the biggest, I guess, kind of drivers of, being able to have capital to create projects or look into other investment opportunities was through gaming, right? And now, if you can just describe a little bit of what you're seeing as far as, with gaming being at times a finite space, and some tribes are landlocked to expand. What are some things or actions taken from tribes just to really consider diversification at the end of the day? Just want to get your thoughts on that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you and I both have talked about this in depth about when we work with our clients, when you guys are working with your clients and we're working with our clients, we talk about diversification a lot. Gaming has been a game changer for our communities over the last 40 years, let's say. I mean, we have gone from some of the most impoverished places in our community, and we're still, in a lot of our communities, we're still struggling, but gaming has, for some of our communities, really brought an economic driver, and that's a huge thing. So really looking at into the future, what's next for our communities. And a lot of our, especially in Alaska, a lot of our communities are looking at creating companies and doing contracting if they're working with the federal government, or if they're doing work with Lockheed Martin, Northrop Grumman, some of the other groups. So we have that as a diversification where tribes can develop their own companies. And that could be in all sorts of fields. I mean, it doesn't have to be federal contracting. It could be in technology. We have a lot of tribes that are doing agriculture and innovation of agriculture. We have a lot of tribes that are some tribes have even, purchased sports teams, and they're getting into that type of arenas. We have still our traditional timber, and we have our fisheries. We have tourism. There's so many opportunities for tribes to expand their economies, as well as we have a lot of tribes that are laser focused in supporting their citizens around entrepreneurship development. And they see that as a core part of their of growth in their economies, how they're supporting their citizens in developing small businesses. And the national center's right there helping them to do that, because they in our communities, we want to see more jobs. We want to see more businesses get developed. We want to be able to support each other and support our families. So all of that have great aspects of it.
Right, right. No, that's definitely a big point. I think just kind of seeing throughout the years, in the work we do, has really looking for other opportunities outside of gaming. Well, it's been a blessing, help move forward a lot of opportunities and projects. It's just becoming more and more of a finite space. So, looking for other, ventures has been something that's come across our plate a lot. And, just asking us, hey, do you guys know what ideas and what other tribes are doing? And, sometimes it's just like, well, hey, there's this conference or this group that, knows a lot about it, and you might want to check them out and think about it, and so that's been real great to have that reference to you guys. The other is just, is there any kind of, measure or thoughts on how this change or thought process of looking outside of, like, let's just say, for example, gaming or, traditional businesses, that you guys are tracking, and anything like that, or any type of data that's out there that shows tribes are really seeking out, an opportunity, technology or cybersecurity, things like that. I'm just kind of curious if there's any type of data like that out there that you guys track or think about.
Yeah, so we work really closely with the Minneapolis Fed. They have the Center for Indian Country Development. They're doing, and I historically was a advisory board member of that organization. We've done some papers jointly. We have a webinar that's coming up. They do a lot of that data, Wes, and I think for the National Center, we believe in having strong partnerships. We have a partnership with RDW, and we believe, why reinvent the wheel when there's organizations out there that might be able to help in the data gathering or in that. So we partner with other organizations and help spread the word about the work they do, as well as they help support us. So with the data driven, that center at the Minneapolis Fed is really where you can find out a lot of information about the growth, the next phases possibly, or the next new opportunities. For us, we do a lot of survey with our clients. So we survey our businesses. Historically, we did a national survey in partnership with the Native American Contractors Association, where we ask uh, all of our clients and all of their members. We ask them what effects have the change in Washington D.C. had on their businesses. Have they lost contracts? Are they? And we got an overwhelming response of over 300 plus tribal leaders, businesses responding on the impacts of a change in administration, and some even had some good comments and bad comments. We are able to provide information, partner with organizations like this center. We're able to survey our own clients to provide data and information, and we can do that very quickly.
Yeah, that's great. With that being said, that probably helps really um, plan for a future. And, as we kind of think about that, one big thing that you guys have that's really cool is the 40 and 40, 40 under 40 awards. That's been really cool. Shout out to one of our team members, Taryn Reynolds. She was a winner of that. That's always a great, kind of push for future leaders. And so, how can a program like that help push forward what the center's doing? I mean, it give you provide a little bit of insight on that. That's a really cool program.
Yeah, it is a great program. We've had 600 plus awardees since 2009 that have been awarded with that distinguished award. This year we have a great class, another class of 40. We had, I think, 300 plus applications this past year, so it's pretty competitive to get those 40. And we recognize on various factors. One is community involvement is pretty important. It's not that you are, just doing great things in your life. We like to see that connection to community, so that's a factor. Giving back to the community, that could be being on a tribal council, that could be running a nonprofit, that could be working in a healthcare industry, that could be running a tribal program, that could be doing just volunteer work. So there's lots of opportunities there, but that's one of the criterias is, what do not only, if you're a doctor, a lawyer, a business owner, a tribal leader, uh, that's just one piece of it. The second piece is, are you giving back to the community? And I think that's a big piece of that. We're growing that network. We're seeing a lot of folks that were early stage when that started in 2009. A lot of us were really young. you
Yeah.
know? And now we're looking around the rooms and like, oh, we're the old guys now, and that's great, and every meeting I go to when I was in DC, I sat with one, two, three, four, five, six 40 under 40 folks at my table. We
Wow.
were at an advocacy event. Lillian Sparks Robinson, Charlie Galbraith, Quentin Carroll, and among many, many others, Kim Teehee. We were all sitting at the same table talking about Sarah Eaglehawk was another one. I mean, and they were all 40 under 40. And it
Yeah.
wasn't like, oh, hey, let's all 40 under 40, let's all sit at one table. No, it was just these were the leaders in the room. And it
Yeah.
was really great to be joined there. And I've looking around, I'm like, well, yeah, this program is really working out. And we are now, a lot of those early days, a lot of those early awardees are folks that have received the awards, they are now leaders in our community. It's pretty amazing.
No, yeah, no, that's definitely been a really cool program. And as we had talked, it was like you said, like 600 applicants. It's pretty competitive. So yeah, no, I mean that's really cool. I
Yeah.
really like that.
Yeah.
But just to kind of wrap things up here and then really talk about you guys have a theme this year called Rising Together, and what do you think economic development in any country is going to look like in the next decade or so?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, so that's a two-part question,
Yeah.
rising together means I think a lot of times in business, in leadership, in councils, in any type of venture, you get caught up and often get siloed.
Mhm.
And that silo sometimes hurts us when a lot of times, especially in the nonprofit world, there's lots of tribal organizations, including us, that are doing a lot of great work in Washington, D.C. and at the state level talking about advocacy. So I believe rising together is that we are all on the same, we don't have to all agree on everything, but what we all agree on, especially on the advocacy piece, is that we are all fighting for our communities. We're all fighting for tribal nations. We're all trying to make sure they have a voice in Washington D.C. Trying to make sure that tribes have a voice at the state level. We don't all have to agree, but to me, rising together is that we all are understanding that we're fighting for our people, and whatever that means and how we do it together is really important. So how we're all rising together is that we are thinking about our next generation. We are encouraging, state and federal governments to enact policy that support our communities, and that's really important to me. The future of our economies, I only see that our economies continue to be strong. I mean, we have had tremendous growth over the past 40 years, and a lot of communities have really strived and diversified and are even thinking well beyond the things we've already talked about. Where I see a lot of other communities also are building their infrastructure, they're building their different types of programs around tourism and entrepreneurship. So I'm seeing those tribes also expanding. So my prediction is we're just going to continue. We're going to continue to look for new opportunities. We're going to continue to strive as a community. We're going to continue to fight for our culture and language preservation, and sovereignty, and all of those go together holistically, and how we do our businesses and how we do our enterprises, and we'll just continue to see our native communities thrive. Um, and get to the next level, whatever that level is going to be. And the National Center will be right there, cheering everyone on, supporting our communities where we can, and providing the resources to our entrepreneurs.
Yep, yep. That sounds great. I think that's exactly what and why everybody should participate and really kind of find out what this what you guys do. And once again, Chris, I know you're a very busy guy, and we definitely thank you for for taking the time to talk to us. And we really hope that we can make this continuing thing and just constantly just catch up on progressive growth and all the opportunity that's out there. And thank you so much for joining us today.
Well, thank you, Wes. I really appreciate REDW's support at the Reservation Economic Summit, support as a partner, and friendship as well. I do believe, a lot of times everybody's busy. And I think we find a lot of times things like this, having these types of conversations are so important. It doesn't matter how busy I may be, I'm always going to stop and talk about our communities and economic development. So I really appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you so much. You have a great day.
You too, my
Excellent.
friend.
All right, man.